In the summer of 1433, the largest wooden ships the world had ever seen rode at anchor off the coast of Calicut, India. Their commander, a Muslim eunuch named Zheng He, was dying. He had been at sea on and off for 28 years. He had commanded fleets of more than 300 vessels and nearly 28,000 men. His flagship, by the most conservative modern estimate, was over 200 feet long. By the most generous, it was longer than a football pitch. Christopher Columbus would not be born for another 18 years, and his Santa Maria would measure barely 62 feet from bow to stern. Nobody in Europe knew any of this was happening. Zheng He had been born Ma-He in 1371, the son of a Muslim family in Yunnan province. At the age of 10, he was captured by invading Ming armies and castrated. He was placed in the service of the Prince of Yan, who would become the Yongle Emperor, one of the most ambitious rulers in Chinese history. The Yongle Emperor wanted the world to know that China existed and that it was magnificent. To deliver that message, he chose the boy he had raised from captivity, Zheng He. Between 1405 and 1433, Zheng He made 7 voyages. His fleet sailed to Java, to Sumatra, to Ceylon, to the coast of India, to the Persian Gulf, and to the shores of East Africa. They carried silk, porcelain, and gold. They returned with giraffes, ostriches, and ambassadors. The first expedition alone comprised 3 Nacintine ships and nearly 28,000 crew. Nothing remotely comparable would sail from any European port for another century. Then it stopped. The Yongle Emperor died in 1424. His successor, the Hongxi Emperor, cancelled the voyages immediately. His son, the Xuande Emperor, briefly revived them for one final expedition in 1430, the 7th and last voyage. Zheng He died during or shortly after it, around 1433. Within 2 years, the Xuande Emperor was dead too, succeeded by the 8-year-old Zhengtong Emperor. The Confucian court officials, who had always considered the voyages a ruinous extravagance, now had a child on the throne and nobody to stop them. The ocean-going fleet was left to rot. Only single-masted fishing boats were permitted. Anything larger became a criminal offence. According to a widely cited account, a war ministry official named Liu Daxia later destroyed the navigation charts and expedition logs, though scholars still debate whether this actually happened. What is not debated is the result. China, which had possessed the most advanced naval technology on Earth, chose to forget how to use it. 59 years later, in 1492, a Genoese sailor named Christopher Columbus set off across the Atlantic in a vessel 1/3 the length of Zheng He's flagship. He thought he was sailing to the same places Zheng He had already been. He was wrong about the geography, but it did not matter. Europe filled the vacuum that China had created, and the next 5 centuries of global power flowed from that single collective decision to stop. The gap lasted 59 years, long enough that everyone who made the decision was dead by the time someone else started. On the evening of April 10, 2026, 4 astronauts splashed down in the Pacific Ocean after 9 days in space. Their names were Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen. They had just completed Artemis II, a flyby around the moon and back. It was the first time human beings had traveled beyond low Earth orbit since Gene Cernan and Harrison Schmitt left the lunar surface on December 14, 1972. The gap was 53 years. In 1972, Cernan became the last human to stand on the moon. The Saturn V rockets that carried Apollo there were retired. The production line was shut down, the tooling scrapped. By the mid-1970s, NASA could not have built another moon rocket if it wanted to. America, which had possessed the most advanced space technology on Earth, chose to stop using it. The structural rhyme is almost eerie. Zheng He's voyages were funded by the Yongle Emperor, who wanted to project power and awe across the known world. Apollo was funded by Kennedy, who wanted to project power and awe beyond it. Both programs were phenomenally expensive. Both were attacked by domestic factions, arguing the money should be spent at home. Both were dismantled within a few years of their patron's death, and both left a gap measured in decades, 59 years for the treasure fleets, 53 for the moonshots. The question the parallel raises is not whether Artemis will succeed. Artemis II already has. The question is what happens in year 5 or year 10 when the political winds shift and someone argues the money would be better spent elsewhere. The Confucian court faction had perfectly reasonable arguments. So did the senators who defunded Apollo. The case for stopping is always reasonable in the moment. The cost of stopping only becomes visible a generation later, when someone else is doing what you chose not to. When the Ming court let Zheng He's ships rot, they did not think they were ceding the next 5 centuries. To Europe, they thought they were being responsible. Columbus did not know he was filling a vacuum. He thought he was finding a trade route. History does not repeat, but the gaps rhyme. 59 years, 53 years. The question facing the Artemis program is whether we are at the beginning of a new age of exploration, or at the top of another arc that ends with someone somewhere deciding the sea is not worth the money. Gene Cernan said before he died in 2017 that he never wanted to be the last man on the moon. As of April 2026, he no longer is. Whether that holds depends on whether anyone remembers what happened the last time a civilization looked at the horizon and decided to turn around.